Hi. Due to popular demand, I am attempting a YouTube tutorial. If it goes well, I might do more. This particular one is going to focus on eyes and the structure of the eye and how to wrap your head around drawing eyes. If you need help with anything else pertaining to eyeballs, let me know in the comments and maybe I can help. I don't know, hair, hands, lips. Let me know. Okay. I'm going to try to do a tutorial. I do have a Twitch channel, but when I'm on Twitch, I tend to get distracted. So maybe if I do a YouTube tutorial, it will be more concise. Hold on. I think I need music for this. I need to put my headphones on. Step 1, have a drawing utensil handy. Step 2, have like a zit on your face so everyone can know that you're human. Step 3, have tea. I am Lothlenan. That is me on Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, and Facebook. That's me. I find statues make fabulous reference because they don't have eyelashes to get in the way. They don't distract you. So if you want to take photos of statues at like your local gallery or museum, it's super helpful. So the thing about the eyeball that you have to remember is it belongs in the eye socket. And the eye socket is kind of like located underneath of the brow bone. So this is really bad, but gosh, this looks like a cartoon. Let's say this is the eyebrows, okay? These are the eyeballs. And then the skin kind of falls down from the brow and it goes to overlap the eye. So you get some creases happening, and you also have to remember that this is a rounded shape and it has planes to it. Now, I know his eye is looking like incredibly surprised, but we're gonna deal with that just to help show what's happening. Okay, so what I'm doing right here is I'm just defining where the brow bone actually goes down, like this shape, and then this would be the eye. So to clarify that, this is the brow bone from a profile view, okay? This is the hole where the eyeball is, and then it goes like this, okay? So that's a really bad representation, but it's kind of telling you what's happening. And like, see what I just did there? This shape here, right here, not often do people have such a defined segment above their eyeball. So usually what happens is the skin folds over top somehow, like so, And then there's some eyelashes. And then, of course, the fat from the cheek. Okay, so that's kind of like the side view of what we're doing right here. So in red, I'm going to show you the different planes. So this, actually I should do that on a different layer, sorry. This is this. That is the lower part of your upper eyelid that is on a different plane. And this is this. That is the lower part of your eyelid that is on a different plane. This is also your eyelid, your lower eyelid. And this is also your upper eyelid. But this is one plane, or one surface. It actually has a few planes, but it's one surface. This is where it kind of takes a right angle and creates another edge. And the reason that this is important is because if you don't accentuate this, you end up getting cartoon eyes, which is fine, but it can hinder your understanding of the structure of the eye. So like if you just were to draw an eyeball like this, sure, go for it. Nothing wrong with that. You got a hint of the lower lid right here. You've got a hint of the upper lid right here. You even have a hint of the crease from the eyebrow bone up here. And look, you even have the eyebrow. So there's nothing wrong with that. It's just an understanding of, do you know why this crease happens? Do you know why this sticks out? And do you really know what this big line at the top of the eye formation is? Or do you just draw it like that because that's how you see other people draw it? So that's why it's important to understand. Better view if you didn't see before. I'm gonna go ahead and hide this. Always reverse your image because things can look a little wonky without you realizing it. This reminds me of Who Framed Roger Rabbit and like the eyeballs coming out of that guy's socket. But anyway. Just to show you the dimensions. We're not gonna deal with this eye actually. We're just gonna leave it be how it is. We're gonna focus on this eye. That is a terrible drawing, but I hope it gets the message across. There's a tear duct here. And the tear duct is connected by tissues to the lids. And because this eye is not straight on, we're not going to see all of the upper lid. We're just going to see this bit poking up underneath. And this can be in shadow because if the light is coming from this direction, that means the light will be hitting the upper bit of the lower lid, which will cast this part in shadow. And that is why you get that happening sometimes. Meanwhile, this part gets an occlusion because it's skin folding over skin. so that's a dark shadow. And if the light's coming from this direction, then this part here is going to be in light. This part would be in shadow. Okay, and don't forget that the eye itself is round. So you're going to get a bit of a cast shadow from the skin hanging over the sclera. But you also have to include a curve of shadow to the eye itself. I'm going to give this a quick tonal so I can show you the lighting a bit better. So we're going to have highlights, and the highlights will be hitting here, hitting here, and hitting here. This was a very simple explanation of how the lid wraps around the eye. Started like this, and then we accentuated the form, helped understand the tone, and that kind of hopefully helps get that across. Remember, this was the plane that we don't see, hitting the light, which is coming from this direction, which means that this plane does see the light. This gets quite a dark shadow. And gotta work that lid in. And don't forget, there is a tear duct there. And the eyeball itself gets cast a bit of shadow here because it is a round form. See? And we can flip it. See how it captures the planes? It's all about those planes of the lids. Zoom in, get a bit of a better look. And it was really simple, right? Yeah. More examples. What if we had the light coming from this direction? Let us see. So something a bit funny is going to be happening with this, because that plane gets hit with the light. It means that the eyeball is going to get a bit shadowy. This lower lid in shadow, there's going to be a bit of reflected light on this one. It's not going to be as dark. And most of the light will be hitting this area. And this area. And we'll also be getting a little bit up here on the brow, which means this So on this one, the light was coming from the upper right, and so therefore it was hitting the lower lid as well as the broad part of the upper lid. In this one, the light was coming from the bottom, so it hit this plane of the lower lid, the teeny tiny bit, like this bit was in shadow because it's not facing the light. That was in light, whereas the very upper part was all in shadow because it's not facing the light. And while we have this little eyeball here, I will show you something else with it. This is the brow bone. This is the fat that goes over the eye. This is the upper plane of the eye. This is the eyeball itself. This is the lower plane of, the upper plane of the lower lid. And then this is the fat here. And then there's, in the corner, there's always the connective tissue, which in this case would connect to the tear duct right there. And yeah, just stuff like that. And then if you were to do eyelashes, you would do them not on this part. Beautiful. Such a beautiful eye. Oh my. I mean, it's scary and ugly as heck, but yeah. Like, see, that looks like an eye. And it was the basic idea of this. It was the same principle. Eyeball. Basically getting your shapes there, which was getting your upper lid, your lower lid planes, your brow, and then that turned into that. And of course, don't forget that one. And that one. If this is the side of your face, and let's say this is your nose, your lips, your chin, your eyeball, always has a curve to it. Eyelid will always go into wherever your brow bone is. It will always go down like this. And then here is where your eyeball inside of your head connects to your brain and your nose and all of that stuff. Oh, look how handsome he is. Oh, yes. So whatever else the face looks like, remember, there's always the roundness of the eyeball, and the eyelids will always follow that shape. Yeah. In case I didn't quite explain plane very well, let's go over that again. Okay. So there is an eye. The thing is that these are all curves that are not straight. So that's kind of like what it does. So this is the brow bone here. So it sticks out. It goes in very drastically when it hits that point. Comes out, goes in at the top of the eyelid. The eyeball itself is round, so we get that curvature. That is the top of the lower lid. And then that's this part here. And then that would be the fat of the cheek. So remember when you're rendering that the planes do have a structured edge. Well, I hope that was kind of helpful. If not,